Well, hello. I am is that chicken wing? I don't know what I don't know what that was. My little sisters are coming up to hang out with me and our older sister, and the littlest one I think just got here. I think I just heard her, but I'm still gonna record this. And I'm just gonna do an eye look. I'm trying to keep things shorter than I have been, but I still have not looked. I've kind of looked into like video editing, and it's really it's such a bad word, but so I follow it by it's an intimidating process, I guess, is the best way to look at it, because I don't mind spending money on something that is like user friendly and I can pick it up really quick and do editing, even if it's not like super high-end perfect editing. Yeah, I don't mind paying for it, but I don't want to pay for something and then have no idea how to use it, because I did that with Photoshop and like Lightroom and all of that, thinking I could take pictures and like figure out how to edit, on my own or watching YouTube videos, and it's way harder than it looks. At least it was for me. Maybe I didn't spend as much time as I should have. I definitely did not spend even kind of the amount of time that I did watching makeup tutorials, but I don't know, maybe it's because I work with like hands-on things better. It's really easy for me to be like, do a circle and then like blend it out, versus like figuring out settings and all of that. I don't know. I was like, oh, I want this to be short, and then decided to ramble for the first 2 minutes of this whole thing. But yeah, the rest of my makeup is done, as you can see. So I'm just going to do, I think, more of a smokier look. I've been doing really pretty like rounded halo effects on the eyes, which it works super good for my eye shape, but not everybody's. And I know I've talked to a few people that were talking about color on the lower lash line, and that's not the easiest thing to do for everybody's eye shape. So this look, you can put just like a really light wash of color under your eye. You don't have to put any. If you want to get like real crazy dramatic, you can put dark underneath it, but I'm going to show it without it. And it's a very Jennifer Lawrence look, in my opinion, and especially on me. But yeah, I just figured I would explain it a bit more, because this look was really hard for me to even kind of try and achieve. That's partly because I have really round eyes, but also just because there's a few little things that look a certain way on camera, and if they're not explained right, like, it's really hard to figure out how it's actually like being done. So now that I've continued rambling, let me get more into this. First I'm going to pick up a peachier shade, which I actually do two together. It's the same Morphe palette that I'm always in, but the peachy shade is going to keep this warm. I'm definitely going to go for warmer browns so that I avoid any like black eye or like muddy, or I don't know, like you just put black makeup on your eye and thought it looked smoky or something. I feel like warm smoky eyes are much easier to achieve, blend, and not look crazy. So the same thing that we normally do with the peach. I always start in the outer corner, but to be honest, we are pretty much dragging this most of the way over the lid. You'll notice that I tend to bring my brush like here and then come back here. I personally sometimes will end up with like this little just a mark kind of where I've stopped blending in. Because I used to get that, I used to be like, oh, I'll just bring it all the way over, but that really closes the eye in, and with this wanting to pull it out into like this more dramatic thing, don't do that. Don't do what I did. If you get these little lines that I get like right in here, I literally just take like a finger and blend back as I keep using these colors in here. If you watch my other videos, I think I literally just go like that and like continue again. But if it's a new motion you're trying to put into it, don't know, you can definitely focus on that part. A lot of people don't seem to have this issue. I don't know if it's a round eye issue. I don't know if it's how I blend, because the rest of it turns out good. And if that's the only thing I have to do to perfect it, then so be it. But yeah, if this is something that you deal with, let me know. If it's something you've seen another YouTuber deal with, let me know there too, because I've always been genuinely curious. I haven't noticed other YouTubers have the same type of issue, but I have noticed a few of them do that kind of like blendy motion from the other way. Like I said, this was not going to be long. It's gonna be a little bit long probably. Okay, so the other side. In YouTube videos, I always open up, I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna do both eyes, or like do one side and then automatically cut and this eye's like done. And then they go to the next step and like cut, and like you never see the other eye getting done. Which is probably how they shorten it, but I feel like part of my issue has been like blending the two and making both sides look somewhat equal. So when they would cut away from that, I would always be like, is it just perfect? Like they didn't have to fiddle or fix anything? I don't know. I do. So trying to see like exactly how that looks on camera. With this first peach color, it seems pointless, it feels pointless, but if you don't do it, you're gonna run into the less blended, I don't know, choppier looks, I guess. I used to always be like, why are they putting that shade down that you never see at the end of the look? And now I do feel like I still see it, but it just blends better. I don't know what it is about having that like transition shade in there that helps everything blend the entire way, but it 100% works, and it's a step that I'm sad that I missed for so long. So after that peachy shade, I always like have to decide which brush I want to use. I'm just gonna move down to like a smaller, fluffier brush. I really need to wash my brushes. Not too bad, but I just used like a pink last time, and so it's still in this brush. Okay, so that was a very high-pitched I am going to go with a warmer transition. So when I first started watching YouTube tutorials, I noticed that my favorite YouTuber was using what she called like pukey orange colors, and I was like, what is wrong with her? Like, her makeup is beautiful, but like, how did she use that color and get that look? And I can't even completely explain it, but it works, because eventually I was like, okay, I'm gonna use it and see how this goes, and it works really well. But let me kind of show you. So like this color here, and then gosh, where's the other one? Oh, all the way up here. So these two colors are just very warm. I don't know, they work really, really well for these. I don't use them much in anything else, but goodness, right here when I'm really trying to like bring up this warm color, it blends well. And I think it makes that really like chocolatey brown stand out so much more. So with this one, we're gonna get back in here like we have been and start circling, right? We're gonna keep it a little bit tighter and just keep these little circles as we go up into the crease, and like do small windshield wiper motions. But you'll notice that my brush is like pushed down this way instead of pushed up this way. This seems more technical than it is, but the more I've learned like these up and down pressures, like the more my makeup has just become so pretty. So when I'm wanting to bring something in, I'm going to put this brush up here like this and do these small circles and these like windshield wiper motions. But it is definitely, I feel like something just dropped down my face. It's definitely keeping that color in the eyelid, in the crease, in the eyelid. And then you'll notice I'm kind of like pushing this way. Okay, so I've created this really pretty outer part, but now we want to pull it out. So we're gonna put this brush right back in here where we had it. not any crazy other places, and then we're going to flick out. But we're going to continue these like circles and then flip out every once in a while. So you are not like going in with brand new product and just it's not gonna work, and it's not cute, and you look like a raccoon at the end, and it's not pretty at all. So when you start incorporating circles and then like little flicks out, you are bringing that color out, but you're bringing it out so minimally where it's just going to build and build. This color is not color that we want to like just stamp on. It's color that is built out when you're doing these really smoky, pretty, like very, very blended looks. Normally this is where I would just, keep going in a circle because that's how my eye shape works with those halo looks. When I'm really trying to pull this out, I am going to get to a point where I have almost nothing on my brush and I'm kind of like circling but like flicking out at the same time. It's harder to explain than I think it is to watch, which is why I'm really glad that I'm like recording this, because I've tried to explain this to some people and it doesn't work out that well. I don't know, my words sometimes can get so confusing, but if you just watch what I'm doing, it really helps. So again, straight from the get-go with all that product, we're staying in this outer corner doing little circles. As we move up into that crease, we're pulling this brush down to where we're keeping it on the lid. That would be the spot that I edit out when I like stick a brush in my eye. Okay, so continuing with those circles, kind of bringing it up in that crease, but again, keeping it on the lid. And don't mind these lashes, they're driving me nuts. So I got the Lashify lashes and I was obsessed with them, but I put both sets on right away. And then one night was like, I think I can take these off and put them back on, because that's how they're made. But they like sell a very special shampoo for that, which I was cheap and was like, I don't need that. I can use makeup remover, and I used makeup remover and it did not work. So these are just like some Ardell singles that I threw on, but I'm gonna get the Lashify ones back and actually pay for like the right cleanser. And I'm really excited about them because they are beautiful when they're on. Okay, so with less product on the brush, we're really putting this color in here and then starting to flick out. Circles and flick. And then as there's less and less product, I like kind of like circle it outward into that flick. So now you can see where in my normal look, I'm much farther in and not so far out. I have like very rounded eyes and I've put a lot on my lower lash line. This one, we're like going opposite of that. And because this is always so hard on my round eyes, I don't do it a lot, but it's so pretty. If you have rounder eyes, just pay attention while you do it. You know your face and you know your eyes, and if something starts to look wonky, it probably is. I don't know, that's like my only advice, because there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I'm gonna try this, and halfway through I'm like, okay, it better work, you know, like I'm following all the instructions and then it's just awful. So I will say with rounder eyes, like keeping it really, really tight and in, and then at the very last bit pulling it out is gonna help, because you're still keeping this round, you're not going crazy out there as I pull farther out. Okay, so again, like that, using like a pukey brown or pukey orange, I think is what she calls it, pukey yellow, I was like, no. And then I put it on and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not mad at this. So I say that way too much. Oh, okay, so I'm just finding another smaller fluffy brush. We're gonna use this warmer brown now that I'm obsessed with recently. It matches my shirt a fair bit. I don't know, it's like that coppery summery to me, I guess. To me, summer is coppery. I don't know. Everybody goes for like these golden looks, but I'm obsessed with these really, really pretty like reds and such, and like rich, rich colors. So the darker the color, the more you're going to want to tap off a lot of excess. You don't want to take a really, really dark color and stamp it in on top of your beautiful work and ruin it, in my opinion. And you can always build. Not always, but if you have good eyeshadows, you can build. And Morphe is cheap and good. So if you're on a budget, I suggest just going to Ulta or Morphe.com and looking through their palettes, because they have so many super, super nice ones. So again, I'm keeping this tight. Really, really tight in here. And you're gonna start to see, like, if you keep that little circle, it will start fairly blended. Now, obviously I have a lot more work to do, but you can kind of immediately test your technique once you go into a dark color, put it on that eye and start circling. Like, are you seeing like already that there is like this faded ring around it, or is it very, very harsh? And if it's super, super harsh, I suggest holding your brush farther back on the end and doing what I said, where like you push it up against and you move the circles or like the bristles around, but you're not like moving the whole brush. So as I get more into this color, I'm slowly even pulling my brush out and like pushing this way to really like buff this color into the eye. And then the very end, I'm gonna take this color and like drag it out a little bit more, keeping circles, pulling out. I keep my mouth open the entire time I do that, apparently. And as you get less and less on your brush, you can kind of start to bring this in. Now, a lot of people have other preferences. Let me finish this before I start doing the next step. About the inner eye. So here, if you're going to put like this really bright white, or some people will do really like bright like yellowy pale tones to put in there, do that before, like after your transition shade, just put that in there. I would like a really blank eyelid when I'm doing this, because I prefer a much more natural-esque, it's not natural at all, but you know what I mean, like look to it. It's definitely more effortless if you look like you just have blank skin in here, which clearly it's primed and everything, I know that. But that's basically what I use as that inner eyeshadow. I feel like it blends so much better in when I do it that way, but that's just my personal preference. So I was using a little brush to put that color in there. Now I'm going to go back to like my medium one that I used that pukey color with. I need to stop saying that. How many times have I said pukey in this video? And I'm going to blend again. This time, because I put no extra product on this, I can really come in a lot farther than I was. Hello. Do you want to be in my video? You're already in it now. You should probably... Do you need something?
Isis has been here for like an hour.
Isis has been here for like an hour. I'll come down and say hi. I thought I heard Isabel. Okay. Well, one of my little sisters are here. At this point, I will kind of like go through the motion of fading this color into my eyelid. I will go back to this guy and like deepen these colors because I've just blended them out a fair bit, but I put no extra product on this brush. So at this point, you're really starting to see this build, become this super pretty eye look, but it's hard. if you have really round eyes like you're seeing me right now, try and like blend out this spot over here. Now, if you have very wide, like more almond shaped eyes, I was gonna say flatter, that doesn't even make sense. More almond shaped eyes, this is gonna be a lot easier for you. The one thing I found with makeup is some things are amazing, and if it works well for me, then it's a go-to and I don't have to think about it. I just do the right techniques and I'm done. But if it's something that doesn't work well with my eye shape, it's something that like I am trying for. Like I know this is gonna take a little bit extra for me, and I'll even go back with the first brush and try and, you know, blend this out even more. I am a perfectionist with my makeup, and I know that. So you also don't have to be like that either. If something looks good to you and it doesn't look perfect, please go for it. I hate the idea that there are rules on makeup. Okay, so now I'm gonna come back over to the other side, and hopefully it's a little bit easier on me because that side gave me a lot. That is one thing too, like makeup artists on here, I swear, don't just put their makeup on and it's easy every single time. If you watch enough of them, they have moments where they're like, this is just not working. Like, it worked yesterday, it worked the day before that, and it just isn't working for me. So remember, where you first place your brush is where the most product will end up. Pretty much 100%, otherwise it looks like trash. Because there's no blending. Like, just don't do it. It's so bad. I've done it a few times. I've been like, oh, I know I'm gonna need it in here, so let me just like put my brush here and slide this way, and oh no, it's so bad. So I always start in the outer corner, circle around, definitely pull up on the brush. The other thing that my eyes do, which is like my least favorite thing ever, is they water. And I have contacts. And I swear, like, if my contacts feel any kind of makeup on my eye, they're just like, nah, we're done. You're not doing this today. I can do these super pretty blown out eye looks, and then one of my eyes starts watering, and within like half hour, 45 minutes, it's all gone and ruined. And so if anybody has this like great solution to that, let me know, because it's awful. Waterproof makeup is okay, but I mean, it doesn't make the biggest difference either. So when in doubt, blend. It's funny, this is a really pretty look and I'm obsessed with it, but on camera it is way peachier than in person. And at this point you can see I'm literally just switching back and forth between all these brushes to basically achieve what I'm going for. So this is my point. This eye is pretty and this eye is pretty, but they don't look the same to me. Like, there's definitely much more brown in this first one, and that's kind of where, when these YouTube tutorials don't show the other eye, I'm like, how did you not? They probably did go through this exact thing right here, but it makes me feel better to see it, to know that I'm not the only one that deals with this. So again, this is where you can leave this under eye blank if you want. It looks really pretty in my opinion. I love it. You can add a giant wing. You can make it crazy dramatic. You can put a ton of shadow underneath the eye. Know that you're not going to get this very like lifted look to your eyes, but it's still going to be gorgeous. You can put, which I'm going to do, a little bit of color under your lash line, and that's also beautiful. I personally love this look with a very soft color under the lash line. I need to learn to close my mouth. Way more than I do. Now, in my last video, I actually made a comment of, if you just put one color under there, it's not gonna look that good. If it's a really light color, and you blend and blend and blend, you'll be fine. But a light color. Some dark colors will, but you have to kind of know what you're doing and like buff and blend and buff and blend, and it's a whole. I mean, you normally end up like in more colors than that at that point anyway. So, I just put that peachy color on the bottom of my eyelids, my lower lash line. I just used like a more firm brush to put the product on my eyes and then blended it out with the original bigger brush. I can't speak today. Then from this point, again, it's all on you. I'm personally not going to use liner with this look. I'm gonna throw on some mascara. Put some mascara on my lower lashes because it's what I prefer. If you have questions on like lower lash line mascara, or you know, if you should do it, if you shouldn't do it, I think I'm gonna put that one on my lower lash line, but feel free to ask. Feel free to ask if you want to know the best ones, like the most recommended ones, or what I currently use, what I prefer. There's a lot. Okay, you don't have to think that much. I have rambled for a half an hour about this look. So I have found that just like putting a brush on my lower lashes and wiggling is the way to do it. And I don't think any YouTuber ever said that. I would just like watch what they were doing and I was like, why are they doing that way? That makes zero sense, because I was always like, put it there and pull it down. No. If you haven't figured it out, just put it on there and wiggle. At least that's how I make the least amount of mess under my eyes. It's funny to me how much like shows up on camera and how much does not. But I actually like this look without much lipstick, but I also love it with like a really peachy, pretty. You know what's funny is I have uploaded like every single one of these videos before I have time to sit there and watch them, and then I watch them and I'm like, I didn't know I was that spastic or slightly annoying, but also cute and funny and silly. You know, if there is anything that you can do for yourself or your confidence, or I don't know, just loving like who you are as a person, I really encourage you to make a video, and nobody else has to see it if you don't want them to. But then be silly and be yourself, and just like then watch it And for like the first minute and a half, you're gonna hate yourself and like immediately want to turn it off. But like if you can get past that first, like, oh gosh, this is what I look like, clearly, or like that's how I act, or that's how I sound, or like I make that facial expression, it's really fun. I don't know, to get to like discover who you are and how you react and accept that and love that. I have never been more confident, I think, than I am right now. And the last few months have really done that for me. Taking more pictures of myself, even though I hated the camera. Loving myself at like every single stage of like weight loss that I'm going through. You know, I love myself when I'm eating McDonald's for breakfast, and I love myself when, you know, I have completely cut out processed sugars for a month straight. And obviously my goal is to be healthier. And I really, really feel like I'm getting there. Part of that is accepting the same person that goes and gets McDonald's for breakfast, you know, on a Saturday, because it's easier and she's spending time with family. You know, that's the same girl that just spent the last 3 weeks not eating sugars. And for some reason I had this really big disconnect in my mind. Like, this girl is the same girl. Like, there's no difference. And same with being on camera. Like, the girl that I feel like I am inside, or hear myself to be, or have this image of like how my face looks when I make that stupid joke, like, that's the same girl that's on the camera and being bold enough to put herself out there and wanting to share who she is and what she loves with whoever wants to watch. So I don't know, that's my TED Talk. No. I talk too much. I like talking, and I like talking about makeup. So if you have any questions or anything else you want to talk about, any makeup that you want to see, let me know. It's funny, the more I look at this makeup, the more I'm like, that looks just like all your other looks, but it doesn't. It does not. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great, gosh, today is Monday for me, but I don't know when I'm gonna upload this. So a great day, great night. I have no idea. I always thought that was so funny when they would get hung up on that at the end. I'd be like, just say bye. So I should just say bye. Bye.